last section, we got our album artwork to show up, but now we got another problem. It appears that we can't actually scroll through our list at all here. So in this section, we're going to fix up that bug a little bit. Even though React Native has a lot of similarities with its web-based cousin, like running React in the browser, we've also seen a couple of differences. The way in which React Native decides to handle scrolling definitely fits into that list of differences as well. So by default, when we make a really tall component in React Native, it is not going to scroll. So by default, no scrolling, doesn't behave like the browser. We must always be aware of when we are rendering a component that must require the user to scroll like up and down throughout our application. Fortunately, fixing the scrolling issue is a straightforward fix. So enabling scrolling just takes 2 steps. First, we will identify the JSX tags that we expect to be scrollable. So kind of like the bulk section of content that we want to be scrollable. And then second, we will import a React Native component called ScrollView and wrap our content with that. So let's give this a shot. So step 1, we need to identify the content that we expect to be scrollable. So you might think, well, is it the album detail? Not quite. It is really the album list. The album list is what renders our big ol' list of albums. So it's really this view right here. I expect everything inside of this view to be scrollable. Okay, so that's how we identify this. We say, what do I expect to be scrollable? So now step 2, we need to import a component called ScrollView and then replace our existing view with that ScrollView tag. So up at the top, I will find my React Native view component, and I'm just going to replace this because we're not going to use the view tag anymore. I'll replace it with ScrollView. And then going back down to our render method, I will find my view tag and I'll replace it with the ScrollView. So ScrollView is just how we say, hey, you know what, whatever's in here, I want it to be scrollable. Just make it scrollable. So not the worst thing in the world. Let's test this out in the simulator now. We'll open it back up, refresh, and now I should be able to, click and drag. But wait a minute. I can scroll, but it appears that even though I scroll down, everything appears to just bounce back here. So still a little bit of a kind of weird thing here going on. So here's the next gotcha of React Native. And yes, I know this framework has a lot of gotchas. That's why you're taking the course with me, right? So you can find all the crazy things I've found and I will just explain them to you nice and easy. So here we go. Whenever you have a scroll view, you must add a style property of flex1 to your root view element. So let's do that and I'll talk about exactly what's going on. So I'm going to go back to my index view right here. Here's my index container, my app component. I'm going to find my root view, here it is, and I'm going to add to it a style of flex1. And because I'm just adding this one single style, I'm not going to bother with a separate styles object. I'm just going to pass this in here. So what this flex1 property does right here is it says, please expand this component to fill the entire content area of the device. So yes, I know that it looked like that was already the case here, but again, this is just one of those gotcha things. I know that it looks like that scroll view is taking up the entire width or area of the screen, but again, it's one of those gotchas. So let's refresh this again. And now when I scroll, all right, hot dog, I'm scrolling through the entire list. Perfect, just what we wanted. So as you're scrolling through, and I'm sure the video you can probably see it, if it appears that it's laggy at all, I guarantee you that is a property of the simulator. If you ever test this out on your device, everything is going to be just buttery smooth scrolling. It is just because we're on the simulator, and I in particular on not the best laptop in the world. So when you put this on a real device, everything is going to scroll very nicely. Okay, so we now have just one feature left in this application. We need to add a button to the bottom of each card here that our users can click to buy an album. So let's start off with that feature in the next section.